First, we'd like to thank Katie's family and our parents for such a wonderful weekend, and it's only beginning tonight. I've had a couple drinks, so I'm going to go off script for a second. Would RBS and LMB stand up? Can we get a big round of applause for these two ladies? You guys have put so much time in to make this weekend possible, and it wouldn't have happened so great if it wasn't for you. I don't think it's a coincidence that neither one of you have sisters. You want to sit over here? Oh, sorry. To Katie's family, thanks for making Brian always feel so welcomed. Even though it's official tonight, he's felt like a part of your family for such a long time. We can't wait to see our families grow even closer in the many years to come. To Mom and Dad, thanks for being the best parents any three boys could have ever asked for. Well, for the most part. Since we have the mic, we would just like to say how unfair it was that Brian got everything at a younger age than we did. We begged you to have a TV in our rooms, but we couldn't have one until we were 16. Brian got one at 12. When we got our junior license, we had a strict 11 p.m. curfew. Brian could roll in at 2 a.m. without a peep. And most importantly, you made Rita and I promise you that neither one of us would get married before we were 30 years old. Yet you're letting Brian get married tonight at 25. For those of you scoring at home, especially you, Terry, we turn 30 on Monday.
Mom, you finally have the daughter that you always wanted. Thank you. We did our best to accompany you on our shopping trips to Bloomingdale's, Nordstrom's, and Zara, but tonight we passed the reins to a true shopping diva in Kate. Dad, you're one step closer to getting that grandchild you always bug us about. Mom and Dad, we love you both and couldn't be prouder to be your kids. Now on to Brian and Katie. As most of you know, Brian and Katie met during their sophomore year at Penn State. However, it wasn't until Brian went abroad the following year that we found out what true love is all about. When Brian went abroad, he sublet his room in the apartment he shared with PJ to a stranger named Droney. One night, Kate and the girls went over to their apartment to have a good time. You know, everyone was having a good time, but something was missing. That something was Kate. A search party ensued, and after a few panic moments, they found her. Our Kate was lying under Droney's sheets, crying hysterically, saying how much she missed Brian. True love, indeed.
There are so many things we love about Kate, one of which is how passionate she is about anything that she does. Kate loves fantasy books, The Hunger Games, Harry Potter, and the Twilight series, just to name a few, and nothing will stop her from finishing them when she starts. A few years ago, we had a Super Bowl party at our house in Shadyside. Everyone was watching the TV, yelling, having a great time. Everyone except Kate. There she was, sitting on the couch in silence, reading The Hunger Games, as if nothing was going on around her. As much as Kate may like fantasy books, if you know her well, you know that she loves Beyonce even more. Last Labor Day, a group of us went to Philadelphia so Kate could see her girl in person. Now, typically at these type of events, Kate tends to hang out near Brian, but not that night. As soon as Beyonce got on stage, Kate sprinted to the front of the section like a little running back. Kate's one of the nicest people in the world, but do not get in her way when Beyonce's involved.
As you can see, Katie's gonna make a great addition to our family. Not many people know this, but when we met Katie a few years ago, and I got her cell phone number, I put her name in my cell phone as Sister. She seemed pretty cool back then, and we know how great she is today. So great, in fact, that she's able to put up with our little brother on a daily basis and still laughs at his endlessly dumb jokes. Jeff and I are so excited to finally be able to call you our sister tonight. We love you, Kate.
Now on to the main event of our speech, at least, our favorite little brother, Brian. While we could literally talk for hours, we thought we'd share just a few stories that really show some of Brian's best qualities. Brian is one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. He was on the homecoming court, he was prom king, and he makes friends with strangers everywhere he goes. When Brian turned 21, a few of us went up to Penn State to help him celebrate. After a long night of drinking, we went to the diner for some late night snacks. After we got sat at our table, we looked across the restaurant to see Brian, fork in hand, eating mac and cheese off a stranger's plate. A quick hug for his new friend later, and he walked back to our table like that was normal behavior.
Brian's also one of the smartest guys out there. He was a senior scholar in high school, graduated with high distinction from Penn State. Highest distinction, I apologize. And somehow managed to snag Kate. All very impressive. But not quite as impressive as how he convinced our parents about what happened to his car one day when he was out driving. So, back in high school, Brian was out driving, and he came home, and the side mirror was dangling off the car. Now, most people might say, you know, they got someone sideswiped them, or maybe they were in the parking lot and their car got hit. But not Brian. Brian claims, and to this day he still won't tell us the truth, that he was driving along fine when a bird swooped in and knocked the mirror completely off the car. Now, I'm pretty sure I saw some pterodactyls around the Carnegie Museum earlier. I think they're extinct, but apparently they made their return on that day in Fox Chapel.
Finally, Brian loves to watch and play sports, just like me and Reed. In fact, Brian started playing sports at a really young age. While me and Reed were playing with soccer and basketballs, Brian thought that playing with himself counted as a sport. It got so bad at one point in kindergarten that my parents got called into the school for a conference with his teachers and the school nurse. Not only was Brian self-stimulating during class, but he convinced all his classmates to do it as well. Ultimately, this conference ended pretty poorly, as our dad said to the teacher, "Don't ever bother me again with such an insignificant problem."
As far as real sports go, Brian never lets Jeff and I forget that he's the only Siegel brother to be a WPIAL champion, winning the golf team title his senior year of high school. That being said, if anyone could fix Brian's putting, we'd greatly appreciate it. His putting got so bad this summer that he decided to putt with his eyes closed. Needless to say, that didn't work either. If we weren't playing sports, we were watching sports. It didn't matter if it was a meaningless Pitt basketball game or the Steelers' Super Bowl victory in Detroit. Any chance we got, we'd go to a game. Even games that didn't count, like the Penn State blue-white scrimmage, were a chance to get together and have a good time. In the case of the Penn State blue-white scrimmage, a really, really, really good time. You can ask this over here about how good the time was. That's the thing about Brian, though. He's always ready for a good time, and he's always in a good mood. He's a great friend, a great brother, and we know he'll make a great partner to Kate.
Brian, we hope you know how much Reed and I admire you. It couldn't have been easy being our little brother at times, but you turned out better than either one of us. Mom and Dad always said that you had the best qualities of both me and Reed, but they were wrong. You are truly one of a kind. I hope you know how much Reed and I love you, and we wish you and Kate nothing but happiness for the many years to come. I don't have a drink, but for those of you that like to raise a toast to the bride and groom, love you guys.
That was very well done, don't you think? It is now time for the blessing. I'm going to turn the microphone over to Father Don Matthews and I believe Randy Siegel, mother of the groom.